Over the last few years, the buzz surrounding self-driving cars have exploded, with many major technology companies throwing their support behind the notion. For example, Google's Waymo subsidiary was established to develop and market consumer-ready self-driving cars worldwide. Along with several others in the IT and auto industries, the company is wagering that self-driving cars will drastically alter how we travel shortly. Safer roads, fewer fossil fuels, and lower transportation costs will be among the dramatic changes. Hello, this is AI Tech Vision, and in today's video we'll be discussing the Waymo driverless car. We'll discuss what it is, how it works, and what you can anticipate from it. But first, make sure you subscribe and switch on notifications so you may be notified whenever a new upload is made. Residents of San Francisco can now request a trip in a self-driving cab. Waymo announced the debut of its Trusted Tester program, which will let San Franciscans travel in an all-electric, self-driving Jaguar I-Pace SUV. Waymo Driver, the fifth iteration of Waymo's autonomous driving technology, is installed in the SUVs. In a news statement announcing the initiative, the business stated, "Through the Trusted Tester program, we'll assist San Francisco residents to extend their mobility options while complementing the city's powerful public transportation infrastructure." We're excited to hear from more San Franciscans as they try out the Waymo Driver. Although the business has been testing self-driving technology in San Francisco for more than a decade, this is the first time it'll provide rides to the public. Residents can use the Waymo One app to book rides. People in San Francisco can hail the taxis for their everyday needs anywhere they wish to travel in our initial service region, according to Waymo, which began as Google's self-driving car project. In an emergency, all the robo-taxis will still have a trained backup driver on board. Waymo started the Trusted Tester program with a small group of employees. The new expansion will reach out to all locals who are interested, beginning with a smaller group and then gradually expanding to include more riders in the coming weeks. Users will provide feedback on the Waymo One app, pickup, drop-off, and the ride in between in exchange for the free rides. Rides in wheelchair-accessible vehicles are also available, according to Waymo. You might be wondering what cutting-edge technologies Waymo employs. Let's talk about the basic technology currently in use. According to Russ Ratter, Senior Vice President of Communications at the Insurance Institute for Highway Safety, the building blocks of driverless automobiles are on the road now. He cited front crash prevention systems, which have been able to warn drivers of impending obstacles for several years and apply the brakes if they don't respond quickly enough. These systems were rapidly followed by technology that allows automobiles to self-park by sizing up a free area and automatically steering into it, leaving the driver with only the accelerator and brake pedals to handle. Mercedes-Benz took autonomous driving a step further with Drive Pilot, which allows the driver to relinquish direct control of the steering and speed in specific situations while still overseeing the vehicle's overall performance. Waymo announced in 2018 that self-driving cars would be available by 2020. Despite some remarkable advances, self-driving cars are still out of reach in 2021, except for a few pilot programs. The only technologies currently on the market are cars that can automatically brake if they predict an accident, automobiles that help maintain your lane, and cars that handle highway driving. The concept behind self-driving automobiles is straightforward. Construct a vehicle with cameras that can track all objects in its environment. If the automobile is about to steer into one, it should respond. After learning all the driving rules, in-car computers should be able to navigate to their destination. In the end, you may conclude that putting these concepts into action has been more difficult than anticipated. High-resolution cameras and LiDAR are used in Waymo cars, the industry leader in self-driving technology. This technology aids the self-driving car in determining the location and movement of other vehicles, cyclists, pedestrians, and objects. But what kind of radical change will this self-driving taxi bring? As with the adoption of any breakthrough technology, firms that do not adapt quickly enough to future improvements in self-driving car technology are likely to face difficulties. According to futurists, automakers, suppliers, dealers, insurance companies, parking firms, and many other car-related businesses are expected to lose hundreds of billions of dollars. Consider the revenue lost by governments due to licensing fees, taxes, tolls, and personal injury lawyers and health insurance. When accidents are so infrequent, why do you need a car with thicker steel and 8 airbags? Who needs a parking spot near work when your vehicle will drive you there, park itself miles away, and then return to pick you up later? Why pay for a flight from Boston to Cleveland when you can depart in the evening, sleep for most of the journey, and arrive in the morning? Indeed, one of Google's objectives is to make car sharing easier. As a result, there will be fewer cars on the road. There are fewer cars, period. Who needs a car when you can order one and it'll arrive minutes later, ready to transport you wherever you want to go? This has the potential to dramatically reduce the number of cars on the road, with 80% of them having people driving alone in them, as well as a household's cost of transportation, which is 18% of their income, around $9,000 a year, for an asset that they only use 5% of the time, said Robert Chase, the founder and CEO of Buzzcar, a peer-to-peer car-sharing service. According to a report by Boston-based Lux Research, self-driving cars would generate $87 billion in prospects for manufacturers and technology companies by 2030. 6 software developers have a chance to win a lot of money. Please subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification to be notified of every upload before we raise our expectations for this technical progress in autos. What should consumers expect when this self-driving cab is released? First and foremost, prepare for an infrastructure transformation. Parking lots and spaces that cover nearly 1/3 of the land area of many US cities can be reused with fewer cars around. As supply grows, this could put temporary downward pressure on real estate values. If lengthier commutes become more tolerable, it might also mean greener cities and revived suburbs. And if there are fewer automobiles on the road, federal, state, and municipal governments may be able to reallocate some of the $180 billion spent on highways and roads each year. Changing oil demand can also be seen as a result of this technological improvement. If you're a company like ExxonMobil, Chevron, or BP, you're in the business of locating, extracting, refining, and marketing hydrocarbons. You may see your revenue fluctuate as demand shifts. These vehicles could use very efficient eco-driving methods, approximately 20% better than the ordinary driver, Chase added. However, if these automobiles are owned by individuals, I believe the number of journeys and vehicle kilometers traveled will skyrocket. People will send their car out to run errands that they would never do if they had to spend time in the car. I believe that if autonomous cars are shared vehicles and people pay for each journey, demand will be reduced. Expect a safety dividend as well. Self-driving cars are also predicted to be safer. These automobiles will not become drunk or high, drive too quickly, or take needless risks, Chase explained. Lower accident liability could initially benefit insurers such as State Farm Insurance, Allstate Corp., Liberty Mutual Group, Berkshire Hathaway Incorporated, Geico, and Citigroup Incorporated's Travelers Group. However, if fewer automobiles take the road, they may lose a significant chunk of the $200 billion in personal auto premiums they write each year. Some experts have even suggested that car insurance may no longer be required. And while we're on the subject of financial services, what about the plethora of banks and creditors that finance roughly 85% of car purchases if sales volume falls? That concludes today's video. Subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications to be notified of new uploads. AI Tech Vision is here, and we'll see you in the next video.